Going on YouTube, Global Bells here back with another Scarlet Violet video, and today we're going to hop into the Limitless website and take a look at some of the results from some of the earliest Regulation E tournaments, right? Now, take these with a grain of salt because you'll see a lot of Regulation D teams do very, very well in these tournaments so far, just because, it's only been a few days since the DLC came out and not everybody has a Regulation E team. Now, that being said, I don't think a lot of the meta changes all too much. I just think maybe one or two slots might change, but in terms of like the archetypes, as far as what was good in Regulation D, I think it still will perform well in Regulation E. Now, that being said, I think with the addition of the DLC and some new mons, you get some new archetypes that can still be good. But as far as like what was already good in Regulation D will still be good in Regulation E. And there may be like a little bit of a drop off in terms of like some of those top mons, but for the most part, they're still going to stay within, I would say the top 30 or top 40 in usage even. All right. So we'll take a look at the Nino Pokebros tournament from last night. And, I start here because that was the biggest tournament. And 72 people, right now. Is pretty sizable. And like I said, with the first, second, and third place teams, these are all Regulation D teams, right? Yeah, Velocity, you're taking it from Joe in a grand final set. This is pretty much the Regidrago Hyper offense, with Fergraph for a little bit of backup. And then Joe was running the Cresselia, Iron Hands Gastrodon kind of slow mode, supported by Hisuian Arcanine, and then a couple of breakers here with Fluttermane and Urshifu. So, pretty good Regulation D team then if you just go down the list. Even 5 of the next 7 were Regulation D teams, right? Even like Dondozo here from our good friend Conkeldonk. Again, this is a very standard way of playing it. So Dondozo is still like within, the meta a little bit, for those who decide to play it, right? Even here from Wolfie, right? Not Wolf Glick, but this person, again, Dondozo Tatsugiri, Dragonite Chenpao, Chiyu Fluttermane, couple modes there. But then if we just get into the nitty gritty of the Regulation E teams, okay, there's a few. Like here's another standard way of playing. Look at this, 8-1. This is actually really good results. So Ogerpon was the story as far as like the most popular Regulation E choice to build around. And without question, right? Like this thing is very, very busted. It's got multiple forms, and the most common forms that we saw in the tournaments were, of course, the Fire Aspect, and then the regular Grass Defiant, as well as this one, the Wellspring Water version with Water Absorb, great against Urshifu for that matter, and as well as Follow Me. You're just able to redirect the Urshifu shenanigans, and then it's just surrounded by 5 good, strong, consistent mons. You get Intimidate support from the Landorus, which greatly helps the Fluttermane tremendously, and then nice little pivot option there with the Heatran, Fake Out with the Iron Hands, and then Fluttermane Iron Bundle, very, very good in terms of like clicking Icy Wind and clicking a strong special attacking move. So this is one way to approach it. And then if we just go down the list, like there's a bunch of other Ogerpon teams, like even this one, right? From Donk, not Conkeldonk, right? Similar squad that we created earlier today in our Ogerpon team building video. You just slap on a Tornadus, add the Ogerpon, add another mode here with Fluttermane Chiyu, and then 2 flexible options here. This is the Dark Urshifu, and then this one is Iron Hands, for example, with no Steel Move, but Volt Switch, okay? So, again, great hyper-offensive team that normally you could just have these 5 and then slap on something else here in the Ogerpon slot, like probably even Chenpao, for example, right? But Ogerpon also doing relatively well here. This is the Grass Defiant version, so that's going relatively well. And then if you just keep going down here, look, you'll even see Emilio Forbes' team here from Big Mike OG, and then some Dragonite teams actually, which is expected. And then even if you go down the list, like you still see people trying different things, right? Like there's a bunch of Ogerpon teams that are here in 4 and 3, and they're still pretty good. Like even this one, right, from our good friend here, Jamaica Sensation, right? So the Rillaboom Ogerpon idea, again, just to give you grassy terrain and then have a strong grass move is always pretty good. And then it's actually, a good Fire Water Grass core. You have Urshifu, you have Rillaboom, and then here's the Heart Flame Mask. So you had that going for you, and then the double Genie mode. We spoke about this in our team building video earlier. Like you can definitely play this mode, and I think it makes a lot of sense. Now, I know we only got 4-3 in this tournament, but again, if you just play this, over a span of like 5 tours, like you can get like a pretty decent result. with a team like this. This is a very, very standard way of playing Ogerpon. Okay. Then as we keep going down here, then we'll also see some like snow teams, especially with like Ninetales and even some rain teams, right? So let's take a look at some of those. And again, like that, this doesn't mean, you know, that they're like not great because they didn't get like top cut results. It's just people are still trying and testing things. So for example, let's find something here that well, this is an all hail team. I don't know about that one, but all right, yeah, let's look at this one. Let's look at this Polytoad team from Lipsy here. So you're bringing the rain here, and then Thunderous has, you know, an accurate wall bolt storm. That's pretty good. Then you have Goldango, Chant Power, Urshifu. That's very, very good. You know, you have like good options here. Goldango and Urshifu, they both very much enjoy the rain. And then here's the Chant Power here, you know, making Urshifu do a little bit more damage. And then you have Sinistcha here. So, you know, Grass Ghost type that can do some good damage here. Strength Sap is pretty cool. Machakacha, of course. This could be an archetype to exploit, right? Now, the question here and the argument here is like, is Polytoad the more preferred option over something like Pelipper? Pros and cons, right? And I think we'll dedicate an entire video just like discussing the pros and cons of both Polytoad and Pelipper. I think that's like, again, another worthy discussion to have within Regulation E. But in the grand scheme of things, like there's no Scald here. You do have the option for Perish Song here. So if you can pick up a couple KOs immediately, you can just go for that Perish archetype. But I've seen some teams with Showdown using like the Polytoad. I think it does well with like Gothitelle. You know, anytime you want to just make things easy for yourself, and if you want to play like Perish, you should definitely consider Gothitelle. And that's what we were seeing in a lot of these Showdown tours. So, you know, I think that's a pretty good way to play it. This is another one right here. Where is it? Right here. So Tornadus here. And again, with the Polytoad, now your Tornadus has accurate Bleak Wind Storm. So again, either you have Polytoad Thunderous, Polytoad Tornadus, accurate Bleak Wind Storms, or accurate Wall Bolt Storms. And then from here, you know, Chant Pow Rillaboom, that kind of idea, along with Ogerpon, like I said, you know, supporting each other, doing more damage because of the sort of Ruin boost. Swords Dance with Ivy Cudgel is very, very strong. All right, and then of course, you know, just Ogerpon having a little bit more damage in the rain because of the Polytoad, right? And then there's a random Glamora here. Okay, so there's that here. But oh yeah, that was our buddy Scholar's Go. So again, that's some ideas here with rain. As far as like snow is concerned, let's take a look at a couple of these Ninetale teams here. So this one's pretty good with Tornadus, Ogerpon, Chant Power, Urshifu. Then there's a Kamo here. So, you know, I feel like Kamo, you want to like set this thing up with like some redirection support. So maybe even something like with Clefairy or Follow Me would be ideal here. This looks like this is like straight offense here, but again, another idea that you can consider with Hail, again, just screens with like Tailwind offense is pretty strong. So yeah, then here from Jones, again, 0-2, but again, like this is still a pretty good way of approaching it. Like you have Landorus, Ninetales, Intimidate support, very good to make Ninetales' weaker bulk stat, the physical defense, a little bit better, and it's already better because of, you know, the snow idea. And then you just have Rillaboom and Ogerpon yet again. That kind of combination is very good. And then here we have Okie Dokie. Okay, Leftovers, Guard Dog. I'm just not so sure about the Loyal 3 just yet. I think people are going to be trying different things with it, but I feel like, you know, I don't think Jones watches these videos, but if he did, I think I would just be a little bit more flexible with this slot here. But this is a good set. You know, Gunk Shot, Protect, Drain Punch, Bulk Up. I think this is totally fine, but I don't know if this is how we want to do it on this team in particular. But I would still run it again, Jones. Like, you know, playing a couple more turns, see what else we can do. Because this is actually a pretty good squad. I would just put something like a Fluttermane in here, for example, right? But maybe not wanting to double up on the Fairy type there. But either way, I still think it's a good concept there with Ninetales, Landorus, or Ninetales plus Intimidate option, right? Then if we go down here, here's like Articuno Ninetales. I know people will try that, but I just don't know about it in general. Ludicolo here, right? So Polytoad, Ludicolo, that was always a thing, you know, back in the rain days. Grass, water is always very good typing. But in the grand scheme of things, like, again, what are we noticing so far? Like, the old stuff is still strong, right? You know, Fluttermane, Chi-Yu, right? How many teams have Fluttermane, Chi-Yu in the top cut? Right over here, third place, that's 1. Another one over here, 7, 2, 3 in 8th place. Then, as we keep going, 4 in 12th place, and then 5 here in 14th place, right? So within, and then if I even had to go to top, no, that doesn't count. So 5 of the top 14 had Fluttermane Chief, right? And I expect that archetype to do relatively well. And then how many have Tornadus? Let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, right? So 6 Tornadus teams as expected. Okay, and then, you know, a bunch of Chien-Pao, Urshifu, Chien-Pao, Ogerpon, and Rillaboom, for example. These are all like very safe, standard, consistent ideas that are always going to be good, and I think that's the way to go. There's a couple of Cresselia here, and here's one with the Ursaluna, of course. I think this is also still like relatively good. No Blood Moon yet, okay, but either way, I think Cresselia is still going to be good. Here's one with Vikavolt. Let's take a look at this one. Indeedee Armarouge with Vikavolt and Ursaluna. I think that's a decent starting core. And then here's your 2 flexible slots. They went with Scizor and Azumarill. Okay. All right. So understandable. Like, again, you know, you have a strong fairy water type in the Trick Room. Azumarill is slow, does a lot of damage. Scizor, good priority move. You can pin Fluttermane slots with Swords Dance, Bullet Punch. And then Dual Wing Beat is really good. Flying coverage is great right now because of, you know, Ogerpon is like part grass along with its other typing. And then Bug Bite, of course, is, you know, another good stab move there. But overall, like, I think you can definitely start with a core like this if you really wanted to try Vikavolt, Indeedee Armarouge, Ursaluna, and then Vikavolt. Then slap on something like a Torkoal, for example. And then maybe, you know, either Hatterene or some other thing like Iron Hands in that sense, right? But either way, you know, people are going to be, you know, still experimenting. But that's really what I got out of this. Oh, by the way, this one, I wanted to look at this one. I think this is a good starting core right here. This Fire Water Grass core, Volcarona, Milotic, and Rillaboom, right? Because if you think about it, Volcarona, you know, Heat Wave, Giga J, this is the set. This is the key set, and I think Volcarona is still going to be good yet again in Regulation E. Now you have the support options here, you know, with Milotic, especially with competitive, because something like Landorus kind of gave Volcarona some problems, but now you just add Milotic here, especially with Ice Beam, and now all of a sudden Landorus has to think twice about coming into games like this. And then, of course, Rillaboom here with Fake Out, able to set up your Quiver Dance here. This is really, really good. You could even also, with the Citrus Berry Milotic, you could even consider Grassy Seed to get a, you know, defense boost with Rillaboom. And I kind of wanted to try and build around this core, you know, in a future video. But I do like Volcarona, I do like Milotic here, and Rillaboom just makes so much sense here. All right, and then even something like this with Screens Grimmsnarl, like there's no reason why you can't even put Ninetales here, right? So like Screens Ninetales, and then maybe even go with like a Tailwind Roaring Moon, for example, or Tailwind something like Zapdos. Yeah, Zapdos, Landorus, Ninetales, like that could be a good 6. Like, hold on, let me put that in Showdown. That's actually a pretty good team. Hold on, Volcarona, Rillaboom, Milotic. Right, then we have Zapdos, Landorus, another proven duo altogether. And then you just slap on Ninetales here, right? Like, tell me what's wrong with this, right? You get screen support, you get Intimidate, you have Fake Out, okay? And then you have Speed with Tailwind, okay? And then you have, you know, good special sweeping potential here. And then you have, like, the slow game as well, like with Milotic stuff, right? So I think this could be something that could be used in a future video, right? Or I might just build this on the side or during a coaching session, right? If you guys want to build this 6, feel free to sign up with the tier 3 sub for coaching. But, you know, this is a pretty cool 6 that I may try again off screen. But anyway, let's look at another tournament. So how about the Neme tournament, which was also going on at the same time as the Pokebros tour. 17-person tournament, very, very small, but still, like, again, some interesting things that you can take away. So this was a Galarian Zapdos team that took first place, right? This was interesting. But again, Indeedee Armarouge with Iron Hands makes a lot of sense. And then here's the Enamorous, you know, special sweeper in Trick Room. And then Zapdos and Chien-Pao here. This is actually pretty cool. And then from here, like, okay, right here, the share, this is a really, really good Ninetales Ogerpon team, right? If you had to build with Ninetales Ogerpon, you could do this. So here's the Landorus, right? Here's the Ogerpon Rillaboom combination. All right, and then here's the Rapid Strike Urshifu, right? And then this is Hearth Flame Mask Ogerpon. So Fire Water Grass core, slap on the Ninetales screen. So now all of these options like the screen benefit because they're all relatively bulky anyway. Fluttermane also enjoys the screens, and then now you have Landorus at the same time to provide Intimidate support. Really, really cool team. I like it a lot. So whoever you are, the Shara, shout outs to you. Great opening idea for this kind of tour. And then you still have stuff like this, right? You know, the Fede archetype, Fede Campo, you know, Crest Ursaluna, Dragonite, Chien-Pao, Fluttermane, Heatran. That's still going to work, you know, within regulationE. Okay, then you have, you know, the Chi-Yu Fluttermane Tornadus idea, right? You know, along with Urshifu, that's still going to be good no matter what. And we spoke about that in the other video. This one is also interesting, like Ninetales with Mamoswine. I know people are going to try this because, again, like any kind of ground type, something like Landorus is going to be good with Ninetales and even Mamoswine. Because if you just consider Ninetales being weak to fire types and also weak to steel types, what can beat both those types? A ground type. So here's where the Mamoswine comes into play. And then even here, something like Heatran, which also enjoys the support here from Ninetales. But again, you know, both weak to fire types, both weak to steel. Heatran definitely is a great partner to Ninetales. And that was true in our opening team building video with Ninetales. Heatran is a great secondary, you know, build partner with Ninetales just because it can deal with both of those weaknesses relatively well. Then from here is just, you know, Chien-Pao Ogerpon. That's pretty good here. And here we go. We got Monkey Dory here. But again, you know, Fake Out Parting Shot is still like pretty good. You know, just imagine Incineroar being in this slot. But of course, we don't have it here. But if I were, you know, Rodrigo here, I would just take this out and then just add something like, you know, even like a Fluttermane or an Urshifu here for that matter. I think it just makes sense. Or even like a Rillaboom here. Totally good. But what else can we get out of this? Like, oh wait, I remember now. Let's look at some of these other tournaments here. Like, again, you just go on Limitless and you can just see like what people are using like up until this moment. So let's see, Iron Happy. What is it? Oh no, we can't actually look at this one. Was this regulationE? This is not regulationE. I just, oh wait, let me go to edit tournament filter. Let's go to VGC. Let's go regulationE. All right, so we got some other smaller tournaments here. How about this one, Detective Pika? See, again, you know, Chi-Yu, Fluttermane here, Donozo. There's another Milotic team here. But this one, right? So Arcanine, Landorus, Urshifu, Fluttermane, Iron Hand, Sinistcha, right? You know, people are still trying different things, but again, like it's all about regulationD teams at the given moment. You know, people need time. People need time. But if you're wondering if your regulationD team would work, it will, right? You just have to, you know, position properly. But all in all, great things from what we've seen so far. Oh, here's another good one, right? So something from the fill, like, and again, another common formula, right? With Goldengo and Tornadus, along with Hisuian, Arcanine, Chien-Pao. And then here's the Rillaboom Ogerpon. Another standard way of utilizing Ogerpon, right? Now you have no Fluttermane here, but you do have Goldengo, and then you get the Intimidate support from Hisuian Arcanine. We did that as well in our Ogerpon building video, so that's still relevant here. But all in all, like, is there another one here that I didn't check? Pomelo here. This one's from Kitori. Ambipom is back. Okay, that's pretty cool. All right, so here's another one, right? Articuno. You know, again, I just don't know about Articuno. Like, again, I know it's a good mon, but it's only really good with Snow. I guess it gets even better with Ninetales. This is way better than Abomasnow, of course. But, you know, some building ideas, like hopefully you get a sense of that. I think there was still also, like, you know, you can just go here and not even like type this and just go, just do it like this. And then you can see like more regulationE tournaments, right? This one we can't see. This one, how about right here? Did we check this one? Yeah, we did. All right. I think that's pretty much it as far as like some of these. Oh, how about this one? Pokepals? Oh, here we go. This one's 5-0. Oh, there we go. Ninetales, Ogerpon yet again. Iron Hands, Landorus, Fluttermane. So you get Intimidate, you get Fake Out, you get Screens, all right? And then, you know, Swords Dance or Urshifu behind screens is just very, very strong. So consider that as another cool thing. Oh, Empoleon teams, right? So Empoleon could be a player as well. It just needs to be on the right team. And I think I saw that in the Nino Tour, so we'll go back to that in a second. But again, Empoleon getting competitive is actually huge, just because now you can really take advantage of that special attacking stat. And we talked about that. This is a Water Pledge Empoleon. What is this? All right, I don't know about this one. Hold on. Let's go back here into the Nino Tour. I definitely saw one Empoleon team there. Where is it? I Yeah, right here. Oh, from Joker Jr. Oh yeah, we know Joker. So yeah, this is much better, right? And here's the Okie Dokie idea yet again. But Tornadus, Ogerpon, Chien-Pao, Fluttermane, and here's the Empoleon. So here's your water type: Ice Beam, Flash Cannon, and Hydro Pump, and then Aqua Jet for a little bit of priority that can get boosted with Chien-Pao. But I do like Assault Vest here. I think it makes a lot of sense. And then here's Sunny Day. Okay. I guess that can enable the Fluttermane too. And then, oh, okay, yeah, that makes sense. This is a Heart Flame Mass Ogerpon, so, you know, it'll do a little bit more damage with the Ivy Cudgel. All right, and then here's your Okie Dokie with, again, Poison Jab, Drain Punch, Bulk Up. You know, Guard Dog is a interesting ability for this. But, you know, Empoleon needs to be on that right team. But, again, people are going to be trying it. You know, is it better than Urshifu in that slot? I don't know, but people are definitely going to be utilizing it. But anyway, those are just some of the initial ideas that we saw in some of the early tournaments so far. So again, in summary, a lot of the Regulation D stuff still works. Some of the rain teams with Politoed, you know, you got some ideas there with either Thundurus or Tornadus. I still think Pelipper is just a little bit better, but again, video on that much later, not much later, soon, you know, discussing that concept. Some of the Ninetales Snow teams, you got to see some of the ideas there, but especially with an Intimidate support with Landorus or something with Heatran, I think that's important. The hyper offensive teams, you know, with Tornadus, Ogerpon, Rillaboom, and Ursh and Chien-Pao, that's going to be like the team to beat. That's like the standard 6, the new standard 6 in that sense. And then the Trick Room teams with Ursaluna, you'll still see them occasionally, but I think they're going to take a bit of a step back at the moment. But you'll still see some of those Ursaluna, especially the Blood Moon type, you know, within play relatively soon. But I digress. That's going to be it for now, folks. Let me know what you think of, you know, the meta at this given stage. You know, it's only been a few days, but let me know what you're trying. And again, if you're trying to build a team right now for Regulation E and need some help, especially with like your EVs, if you don't know how to, you know, build them specifically, especially like in terms of synergy, feel free to sign up on the channel and join the Discord. Sign up with that tier 3 sub. It's a team building sub. It's only $10, very, very affordable. It's in the video description below, as well as in the comment section if you're trying to play in a tournament or trying to go to a regional for upcoming Regulation E. As soon as we know the rules, you know, we'll get all of those going. But some of you have already signed up, so that's great. Hopefully we can help you guys get those great teams that we also made in Regulation D, transition them over into Regulation E. But that's going to do it for now, folks. We'll be back in another video next time. Peace out and have a good one.